Hi, welcome to Lazy Girl Dinners. Today I'm going to be doing basically a how-to and a review of these two pasta makers that I have. One is the Atlas Wellness Machine. It's a pretty basic pasta rolling machine. It has a pasta roller and a cutter all built in one. And basically this is really all you need. But if you would like for your pasta making to go a little bit more quickly and more smoothly, because a lot of people have an issue with this particular Atlas machine because they feel like they need more than two hands. And honestly, that's the way I felt the first time I used this machine. But it was after making pasta for several times, I figured out it was not really the machine, it was more my dough. If my dough is not too wet and not too dry, this machine rolls it out quickly and cuts it quickly. So let's get started first. First, you really want to have, let me put this away, you really want to have this clamped down, and I made the mistake when I first used this machine of not clamping it down, and it really made it difficult. And I really did feel like I needed more than two hands. I felt like I needed 6 or 7. But if you clamp it down, and again, if your dough is nice and not dry, but just perfect, not too dry and not too wet, then you won't have an issue with rolling the dough out. So I'm just gonna cut this into 4 halves, and I'm going to use a little bit of flour. I'm going to wrap the other 3 pieces of this dough, because I cut it into 4, back in this saran wrap that I have, just so it doesn't dry out, and you should always do that. I actually have, I'm going to have the recipe for this dough up on my website tomorrow. So if you want the recipe for that, go to www.lazygirldinners.com. And what I do for this machine is I'm just going to flour my surface a little bit. And then let me grab my roller for 1 second. I'm going to push this down first. And I'm still there. I'm just going to grab my roller. And I try to make it square so that I don't have to keep putting it in the machine, because once you get it smooth, you want to not have to do it again. It just makes it quicker and faster. So I'm rolling this out just to get it thin enough to put through the machine. And then once I do that, you'll see how quickly it comes together. And you don't need very much flour. You just roll it out to about yay thick. And then I'm going to start on 0. This has a dial on the Atlas machine that goes from 0 to 9. So, and then on the KitchenAid, I think it goes from 1 to, is it 8? Yes. So 1 to 8. So I just put it in here and I just roll. And as you can see, it just goes through and it smooths it out. And I do this about, on each dial, about 3 times. So it goes fairly quickly, especially at 0. And then it just gets smooth like that. And you always want to do each setting. So I'm moving up to setting number 1. And I'm rolling it out, and I'm going to do it 3 times. And you want to make sure that your dough stays dry. And that's just a really issue of not adding too much moisture and letting your eggs hydrate your dough while it rests. So it's a good thing to let your pasta dough rest for 30 minutes. And like I said, I'll get more into that on my website on how to do the pasta. So I'm on setting 2. And again, just 3 times through on each setting. And as you can see, the more we roll, the quicker and longer the dough gets. So it's really easy. It looks easy because it is easy. So I'm on setting 3 and I'm going up to setting 6. So I have 3 more settings and I'm just gonna flour my board a little bit more just so my dough doesn't stick, and just get it a little bit powdered. And I'm gonna do this one more time because I sort of lost count, but I think this is 3. And then I'm moving up to setting 4. And as you can see, it's getting longer and thinner the more I roll it. And then by the time you reach setting 6, you can really gauge whether or not you want to run it through again on settings. If you want to run it through 3 times on setting 6, sometimes it's so perfectly done by the time that I get to setting 6 that I don't need to roll it 3 times. Sometimes once or twice is enough. So you have to gauge that just by the feel of your dough. If it feels like it's getting too thin, you're going up to setting 5. Then you probably don't want to chance it and risk tearing it, because once you tear it, you have to start all over. And that really sucks. So this is the last time on setting 5. And then as you can see, it's so very simple. And I'm going to go to setting 6, my last setting. So for this one, I'm going to see how many times I'm going to run it through. I think 3 times is okay for this one. And I'm just putting a little bit more flour on my board so when it runs through the final time, it has something to catch on to, because the thinner it gets, the more at risk you are of ripping it. And nobody wants to rip it because then you have to fold it again. So this is the last time. And as you can see, it's, oh, I messed mine up a little bit, but it's okay. It rolled right back out. And as you can see, look at that, perfect. So what I would normally do is I would place this on a baking sheet and I'd put some flour on it before and then go on to my next piece. And I think I'll do that. I'll go on to the next piece and roll it out on the KitchenAid while I let this dry out a bit. I think it's better to have it dry out a little bit before you cut it on the spaghetti cutter. Actually, let me just cut it because I need to move the Atlas out of my way so I can get to the KitchenAid. So I'm cutting it in half just so it's more workable for me and I don't rip it or lose it. And so on the Atlas, you start on the roller side, and then this part you can keep on, which I usually do because I think it's easier, or you can attach it right before you cut it. So I'm putting it back on, but I have to move the roller blade over to the cutter. And there's 2 cutters on here. There's a fettuccine cutter on this side right here, and then there's the side for the spaghetti. So I'm going to cut it for spaghetti because I'm making, yay, some ramen tonight. And I'm just going to roll it. And you can't see it yet, but the spaghetti is coming out on this side. And it's very quick to do that. And there you have it. Nice spaghetti. And what I like to do is I like to make sure it's nice and my board is nice and dry. So I put a little bit of flour and then I place my spaghetti on it and I roll it like that. Just so that my noodles don't stick together. And then you just place it on a parchment lined cutting board, and I get the tips because the tips are usually the part of the pasta that sticks. So I'm gonna get closer so you can see. Look how beautiful those spaghetti strands are. And I'm going to grab my board over here just so you guys can see. And I need a little bit more flour so that this can dry out while I do the rest. And then I just gently lay it in a little nest there. You see that? There you go. And so I'm going to cut the other one. And this one I'll cut on the fettuccine just so you guys can see what that looks like. Oops, I gotta move it to the fettuccine side. And it's just really easy. Really easy to get through that. See that? Look at these. Isn't that beautiful? And again, I just roll it. You don't need that much flour for this. Just a little bit. Just enough so it doesn't stick. And then I put this in a little nest also. And you let it dry. And the best thing about fresh pasta is that it cooks in less than a minute. So a minute to a minute and a half and you're done. So that's it for the Atlas machine. As you can see, it's not that difficult. Right? A lot of people, I think it's more a matter of your dough that causes the issues with when people complain about these types of rolling machines. But if your dough is good and it's the right consistency, then you will not have a problem rolling that out. So I'm going to take another piece of my pasta dough here and roll it out because I have the KitchenAid attachment, which is a little bit quicker to use than that. And when you get this attachment, it comes with a roller and 2 cutters, and it's about $200. So it's not cheap, but it's really great. And it has spaghetti and a fettuccine just like the other one. So the only thing about this one is that it's not as simple. You have to take this off and then use the cutter, as opposed to that one. You just can go right into it. So I'm gonna mash this out a little bit just to make it square. I find if I do that, I don't have to readjust and do the folding. You see a lot of folding for pasta, and that's mainly because you want it to look perfect, but I'm fine with rounded edges. If you want really square edges, then you can do that. And then you also do that when you get a tear. So I think if you start from the beginning and you roll it properly, you won't have to go back and redo that. So there you have it. And I'm going to turn my machine on to number 2. And you probably won't hear me as well now, but I'm going to roll it. And as you can see, this is like really a one-hand job. You don't really have to do much for this one. And this is on setting 1 already. So it's really very simple. And as you can see, this one is already at setting 1. Quicker and it's easier and it's smoother. So I'm going to move up to setting 2. And it's already thin and it's getting longer. And I really like this one because it really is hands-free. And I like that this one is higher up, so you can let this fall down and you don't have to worry about it. On the other one, I have to pick up on the Atlas. This is the 3rd time through here on setting 2. I don't think I'm going to go beyond setting 4 on this one because it's already pretty thin. I'm moving up to setting 3. Maybe I'll go to setting 5. We'll see, because I don't want it to tear. as you can see, it's getting longer and smoother. So the benefit of this machine is that it's a machine. So it presses it really well, and it makes it really, really smooth very quickly. Okay, I'm just gonna powder it a bit because it was getting a little bit wet. And see, I don't even have to touch it. I can really just let it go. It's so tall that it won't hurt it. Okay, I'm going to move up to setting 5. And you just really pull it out. This is like the same function as my Atlas. And you just have to pull the knob out and move it to the next adjustment. The setting 5 seems fine on this machine. I don't think I want to do a 6 because it's really already very thin. I'm just going to put a little bit more flour on it so that it doesn't rip and tear. And this is the last one to it. You see it gets longer and longer. Okay, maybe I'll do a 6. I'm going to press my luck here. And the benefit of this machine is that you can use both hands. And that's a really great benefit. So you use both hands to pull it out and hold it. And you have less mistakes. And there you have it. Now I'm going to switch to the cutter on here. So I have to turn it off. And then I'm just going to loosen the dial on it and remove it. And then I'm going to add my spaghetti cutter here. And then you just place it into the KitchenAid attachment hole there. And you just hold it like that and you're good. So I'm going to turn it back on setting 2. And then I'm going to cut it because my daughter, she loves noodles, but she doesn't like really, really long noodles, and my husband either. And these will be super long if I were to put that whole sheet in there. Plus, this is more manageable. So I'm just going to run it through. And as you can see, look, already cut. So easy. And I'm going to put flour on my board so my noodles don't stick together. I'm going to roll them a little bit. And this dough, as much as I love my Atlas, is a lot more smooth than the other dough. These are more uniform. Let me show it to you. Look how smooth those look. So even though the KitchenAid is expensive, it is a lot. The output that you get is a lot cleaner. Step on something. Okay. Gonna move on to the next one. And look how quickly that went. That's it. See how fast that was? That's why people buy the KitchenAid. Now they have a KitchenAid attachment that you can buy. I'm just flouring my board again so that I can roll these. Actually, the pasta that comes out of the KitchenAid, the cut, doesn't really need that much flour. My other Atlas, it seems like that needs more flour than this. So, the finished product, look how beautiful those are. And I'm just going to roll them into little nests. As you can see. Isn't that beautiful? So there you have it. That is hand rolled pasta on the Atlas machine, which is great. And then rolled electric pasta on the KitchenAid attachment, and both work equally as well. So whatever you can afford, you should go for. I personally prefer this one, but when I'm at home and I have time and Paige can help me, then I like this one. It's more family friendly, and she really loves to crank it and have fun with it and catch the pasta on the other side. So it's really more of a family thing for us. So I like having both. So thank you for watching.